Hey guys, welcome back to Live with RealiTEA with Trisha and Kylie as we are spilling the tea on the Russell Hantz show. And we have a guest today, the beauty king himself, Mr. Massachusetts 1986, friendship bracelet winner, Mojo user, the Kevin Schlehuber. Welcome to our show, Kevin. We're so excited to have you. And we also know that you're a cancer survivor.
Yes.
Give us a little life update.
Well, first of all, I'm going to have to hire you as my public relations. That was a great introduction. And second of all, I want to just wish everyone the best. I hope everyone's doing good during these times, a difficult time, especially being young. Man, I don't know. It's social media is no joke. I'm telling you that. And so I've been staying up with the show, but I'm not a live feeder. You know what I mean? Because I just can't sit still. I'm like a weird dude. I know my kids think I'm really strange. They do. So I have like I said, I have some live feeders across the country. I have I Green, I have Lisa, Melanie, Smurf, Michelle, and all these people who Smart Chick, a girl from Brooklyn. They help me out and they tell me what's going on. But I mean, I watched the show. Obviously, I was on it, so I know what it's like and what the pressure's like. But you have to understand, when I was on it, even then, I was 33 years older than a lot of the guests.
Yes.
I mean, the next closest person to me wasn't born when I was out of high school. You know? Even now.
That's crazy to think about.
Who's the oldest now, guys? Who's the oldest?
On this season, well, it probably was or Memphis is probably the oldest.
Yeah,
no, right now.
Memphis.
I think Enzo's 41.
Okay, maybe Enzo, but I mean, he's still pretty young.
Yeah, I was out of high school before Enzo was born. You know, I met him. He's a cool guy. He's really hyper dude, but he's really cool guy. I like him. You know what I mean? He's always moving.
He is.
Yeah, I imagine he's exactly the same on the show and off the show.
Yeah, he is 100%. 100%. Yeah, he had the shorts on and his hat and everything. He was really nice. I liked him. You know, but you know, it's a lot of pressure on this kid. You have to understand. Now, when you come back with All Stars, this is just my opinion from viewing it. Is you really can't tell anyone things that aren't true about you because everyone knows about you. You know what I mean? And then if people had a preconceived feelings or ideas about you, they're not going to like you no matter what. And it's hard to communicate. I mean, the first 3 people off the season were America's favorite players while they played.
Yeah. So we definitely saw, them going after Janelle and Kaser very quickly because of the game that they had played in the past and what they knew about them as being strong players. Yes,
they were. They brought in ratings. You know, they were pretty cool. I never seen them before, but I liked them. I liked them both, Kaser and Janelle, both good. I like Nicole. I think she read what was going on, Ron, but she's not that type of person. She's a nice kid, really nice kid. I don't know the girl, Keisha, but, now what's happening now, you guys are going to have to fill me in and fill us in.
We're gonna fill you in for sure.
Yeah, there's so much, y'all, that we're going to get into with the live feed. We are going to talk about, there's a lot. So if y'all have not been keeping up with them, you're going to be shocked at the things we talk about today. We're going to hit on last night's episode a little bit.
Okay. I'm ready for that. I did watch that.
All right, so the main thing that we want to talk about from last night's episode is we do see the basement comp. Kevin, on your season, did y'all do a comp that was completely in the dark like that?
Yeah, no, listen, man. We did a comp. You're going to die. You're not going to believe this, man. You know that I ramble on. So we did a comp in a haunted house. It was supposed to be like a haunted house, right? So you go down there, and they put all the lights out, and you have to walk through. You have to go into, like, the room I was staying in. You have to find the heart and put it back into this machine or some kind of thing like that. Man, you could almost see them because behind the mirrors in the house are cameras that are lit up. So you could see little bright spots of light. So it wasn't pitch black like last night. So I remember getting ready to go and production said, "Kevin, are you ready?" And I'd be like, "Yes, I'm ready to go." So I just start walking through and I could see the person underneath the table going to jump out at me. But he would jump out and I have no reaction. I'd be like, and they would stop and they would say, "Kevin, could you go back to the beginning?" And I'm like, "Okay, you have to react." But I said, "But I can see them." You know what I mean? I'm not going to jump. And Jessica, she wouldn't do it. Remember, she sat down and she wouldn't do the comp?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they do get really intricate. The production people, I mean, they spend a year developing the show. So what they do is they when it came to that comp, because everyone's going to enjoy it, you all go up to the HOH room, you get let out one at a time, and you get like 30 minutes. So you got to remember, there's 10 people. 30 minutes, that's like 6 hours you sit in the HOH room, you know, everyone to get through them, 5 hours. So everybody would run through and get the fastest time they could. But while they were doing that, people would jump out at you dressed up as Frankenstein or Dracula, or, you know, as who's the guy in Nightmare on Elm Street? I don't know his name.
Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger and people like that, and Jason and stuff. And I had no reaction. Like, I didn't jump scared. They were like, they tried to make me start again and do it. And I like, but I'm not going to act scared. I mean, it was fun for the younger kids. They enjoyed it. But yeah, we got something similar. But last night was pretty cool because they had that goo on the ground too. Yeah. So once you get stuck, you know, it's hard to find. And they were pitch black. You have to remember they were pitch black. So you can't really
I thought it was fun that they had all 12 competing at one time, because we had thought that they maybe went in groups of 4 and that's how they determined the 3 powers. But I liked having them all bumping into each other and not knowing. I thought that was really fun.
Right.
A little different than we've seen it.
When they did it in my season, you went one at a time individually. And I thought I did a pretty good time. I actually may have even come in third. Then I came in second in one other comp. So I mean I won the first thing. But I really wasn't a comp beast. But if you notice, there's a lot of them who aren't comp beast who still make it further in the show just from the social skills and their social game. You know what I mean? But the comps aren't as easy as they look. Although these comps so far this year, I mean, last night was that was a specialty comp, right? That you can win special things like, you know?
Yeah, the powers.
It wasn't like HOH or POV, right?
Right.
I mean,
it was a special comp.
The HOHs and them seem to be not that difficult. I guess one of the POVs the other night, the one the kid Kevin won, was an endurance comp. But they're going to have to start some difficult comps. Most of them are just rolling balls and things like that, which I'm not complaining. Those are the ones I would be better at. You know what I mean? You put me on a hot dog and you start tipping the hot dog and they squirt you with ketchup. And I'm like, what the hell are they doing, man? But,
I mean, I'm sure, like, you know, you were a grown man on this show. You got all these kids around you, and you're riding a hot dog being squirted with ketchup. I'm sure you were like, what the hell did I get myself into?
Yeah, no. And then, so listen, here's the funny thing, man. So I jump off because, I mean, I see the guys underneath in production, and they get to pointing this machine at me, like, ready to squirt me. And I'm like, man, not in the face, because you didn't have no, man, it hit me right in the cheek here with ketchup and went all over. I was like, man, what the? So I jumped down. You got to listen to this. So it all ends 3 hours later. I take a shower and I'm sitting on my little corner, and Josh comes. Kevin, can I speak to you? And he sits beside me, and he was like, did you throw the comp? I said, what? I said, no, I didn't throw the comp. I didn't want to hang up there. They were squirting me with mustard and ketchup at a high speed. So I just said, I didn't want to. I mean, I don't know. It's those comps aren't. It's difficult for someone tall to navigate through those comps, because when they start leaning in like this, you're taller. You have to hold up. If you remember who won the comp, I think it was Elena or Jessica or Alex. One of those 3 won that comp. Or it was Jason and Alex. You remember those last 2? And he ended up winning. He was 20 years younger, so I just jumped off. You know, because I basically knew when you're in the house, everyone gets the feel of who's going home that week, no matter what you see on the edits and on everything else. Like, again, this week, I mean, might as well. Who do you think's going home this week, guys?
Well, I mean, without getting into the live feeds, I would say that Bailey looked like her days were numbered. But yeah, we'll hit on those live feeds in just a second.
Unbelievable. I know, so shocking, because, you know, some people wait and can't wait to get back there. And I mean, I can't say anything, because on my scene, it was actually the only time ever in the history of Big Brother there was a self-eviction. Am I right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's her name? Self-evicted. I couldn't believe it. So she went in the DR and never came back.
Y'all, I don't know why I'm yellow. I know that my screen's yellow. I don't know why. So
It could be
hopefully it'll go.
mine, so that's fine.
If you could come back as a potato, that would be preferable. Anyway, so we're just gonna let Trisha be yellow. Her voice can just come out.
Y'all
We'll
can't
keep
see me,
moving
but I'm
on.
laughing. I'm laughing so hard right now.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why she's yellow either. So let's talk about the powers that came out last night. We knew about two of them. We knew that Danny had won the power where the HOH can compete again, and we knew that Christmas had one where she can block a renom. We did not know about David's power, and this is pretty interesting to me because yesterday we talked about it on the show, and I gotta eat some crow because I said that there was no way David won this competition because he would for sure tell people. So were you surprised to see David win the competition?
No, well, I mean, eventually, you have to get it right once in a while. So I was happy for him. I really was happy for him. I mean, he's been taking a lot of abuse. I mean, social media is really difficult, man. You know what I mean? And he's only young. It's hard. You're in there with people who know the game. David, like me, he didn't seem to be a student of the game itself. You know what I mean? Because he would say things that were just off the top of his head, and a lot of times you want to keep that quiet. And I was happy for him because when you win that comp, I mean, it's really good because now, I mean, his power was he could take somebody off the block for the next 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So he may want to save that. I mean, because he could take himself off. So for the next 2 weeks, let's say he goes up next week, he has to use it before the POV competition, correct?
I don't know. So that's interesting because that very last DR at the end of the show last night, David said something to the effect of her nominations aren't set in stone yet. So that kind of implies that maybe he could change something at the veto. I assumed whenever he got it that it was just at the nominations, but I don't know why production would have played that.
If I was David, he's up there against Tyler, Ian, Kevin, Memphis. I'm just naming the guys only because it seems the guys are winning a lot of things. They're going to put him up next, guys. So he better save that for himself. I'm telling you, the simple way to do things is that's why always, in my opinion, just from learning the show for the last 3 years, generally the oldest person may go home because when you're with 80% of the people between 22 and 28, and you're in the early 50s or late 40s, it's easier to eliminate that person and to see what alliances stuck together and what alliances stayed true and what people stayed true to. So if you notice, I mean, I made it pretty far and Cliff made it pretty far, but the poor guy from New York, Glenn, was out early.
Yeah.
The other guy from New York, what's his name?
Summer is Steve.
Steve, my guy, he left early. Teams they put in this year. I mean, Janelle, Kaiser, and Keisha are all in late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah, and they're all out.
Yeah, so then it makes it easier for people like Cody, Tyler, Nicole to see if you kept your word with what you were saying and took out who we were saying you were going to take out. That's why a couple of them threw other votes because you knew they wanted to try to mix everything up, But the older person, it's really difficult. Think about it. Let's put a 23-year-old in there with 14, 15, 55-year-olds. That 23-year-old is going to be gone unless he wins the first week, Yeah. So it's really hard. The game has really changed and evolved in terms of, and I'm not taking nothing away from the old school players, Evil Dick, Chicken George, and these guys Dr. Will, great players. But back then, the kids on the show nowadays, they are students of the game. I mean, they know what's going on. They know what comp is coming up. They know everything that goes on. When Paul came in the house, I didn't know who he was. I thought he was delivering pizza. You know what I mean? And when Zingbot came in,
if only.
Did you see everyone bowing down to Zingbot? I didn't know who you. I was like,
you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this big old robot?
Why is this guy in a robot outfit making fun of all of us? And no one's saying nothing to him.
It's like, what an asshole.
Right, exactly. And then you have to understand. So these younger kids who were 25, the show's 20 years old. They've been watching it since they were 4 or 5 years old. So they know everything. They knew all the comps. They knew when to rest up. They knew what to do. They knew what to say. They knew to talk up to the camera. they were yelling out Instagram and their Twitter handles. So and I was like, what the hell are you guys doing?
What is that?
But but then you gotta almost blame yourself, because if you don't realize what you're getting into, it's your own fault. I mean, I made it to the end, and I won the first night, so I mean, I was pretty happy with that. And then I was really upset the whole show. And then when I got to the jury panel, the jury panel when Dr. Will negotiates and talks to everybody.
Yeah.
He was like, "Hey, Kevin," before we went on, "Man, I really like you." I said, "Hey, I like your suit." He said, I love your suit." And he said, he never won a comp and he won the whole show.
Exactly.
And I was like, what? Because I was feeling like I disappointed everyone. And I was like, you never won a comp and you won the whole thing? So I was like ranting and raving before we went back to the live. And people were like, I said, Dr. Will never won a comp and he won the whole show. So nowadays, you can't go that way. It's impossible to make it that far being older. Even Dr. Will back then may have only been what? Dr. Will was on 18, 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was on season 2 and season 7.
So he was probably only 26 years old, even when he was on.
Yeah, he was really young.
Yeah, I mean, I was on, when I was on, my birthday was during the show. They made a cake for me. I turned 56 during the season. So
well, you did really great, and I think that you're talking about how all the young kids knew what to say. Well, everybody loved you on your season. Like, I think unanimously, everyone loves Kevin, and that's because of your just natural personality. So I couldn't imagine anyone better to have been cast.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone older, because now the older people, like Steve, was a cool guy, and he was just gone. They didn't even give him a chance. I mean, Glenn, cool. I know both of them. I met them. Nice guys. And Cliff made it far, but again, that just shows you we have actually Christmas. Maybe I don't know how old Christmas is. She may be 38 or 37 or something like that. But she's doing pretty good. I mean, I don't know her social game is. I don't know about that, but otherwise, she's winning some comps. She's the only female who's won any of the comps, right?
Yeah, the only one.
I don't understand. I don't understand how they took the first 3 evictions were females, and all the girls voted against them.
So we don't understand either, Kevin. It is a mystery.
Really, honestly. So you're leaving 8 guys in there with 5 girls. Now there's 6, 7 guys, and now there's 2 girls on the block. So if they talk out,
put up by a girl.
I that's what I said. I couldn't understand it. So I mean, there's going to be. I don't know how they expect it, and the other ones haven't won many competitions. So you have to understand that they're going to start. It's going to get ugly in a couple of weeks. And Enzo, I think, is doing good. I mean, Cody's doing good. Ian's really quiet. I haven't heard much from him. He wears a shirt and tie though, so I like Ian.
Ian has been really quiet, especially since the Kaser speech. That has kind of got Ian in a mental space where he is struggling.
Yeah, I know.
So he's struggling.
Yeah, I know. Listen, man, the hard thing for everyone, for all you guys to understand who's never been on the show, and I don't mean just you two, is the deprivation. There's 168 hours in the week. You're seeing, if you're a live feeder, you get to see it all. But 85%, maybe 90% of the people only see what they edit on that 1 hour. You know what I mean? And for the first 15 minutes, they show what was on the last show. Then they go into like 9 commercials, and then they come on. So spending time on your own, and when you feel isolated and you're on your own, when you feel no one's talking to you, even when there's 14, 12 people in the house, a lot of times people can be mean and not talk to you and break into alliances. It's mentally really stressful. I mean, it shows them go ahead.
I was going to say, we've got this question from KMK, and it says, hey, Kevin, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much of a mental toll has the game actually taken on your life?
On me, I'm telling you, when I first got out, I was cruising. Everything was fine. Everything was fine. I'm going to be honest with you guys. That's why I'm sticking up for these youngest house guests now. Then I came back to my own neighborhood, and I was told, you let people talk about you, you let this. I'm like, what? I said, it was a goddamn game. Relax. So it really took a toll. People would come to my house. People would, I mean, I would have to say the BB fandom to me, it's much more different than everyone else. Everyone likes me. I don't have anything negative to say about anybody in the BB fandom. They've all been great to me, but I can understand the younger kids. For example, we'll just say it because I'm good friends with him, and like Paul, there's no gray area. Either people hate him or like him, which I don't understand why. He was just playing a show. Did he play a show that people don't like because he didn't follow their criteria? They don't tell you that at the beginning of the show. All they tell you is to try to win. So he was applying anything possible to win. Now, did he go overboard? I've never watched my season, but apparently people think he did. But you have to understand, he was only 24. He was on the year before. You know what I mean? He got the friendship bracelet. So he was sort of controlling things. And if you didn't follow him, it seemed you were going to be put on the block, or you were going to be in an alliance that was going against him. So to get back to the main thing, mentally it took a real big toll on me after that. But again, I've been through a lot in my life. You know, when you have so many children, it's hard to tell you guys that it was difficult to go on a national TV show, and I was stressed out. You want to be stressed out, man, go into that hospital once you're having that child is getting ready to be born. That's stress. It's nothing to do with sitting in the corner having ice cream, talking to a camera, eating Snickers bars. That's not that difficult.
And you did it 7 times, so.
Actually 9.
9 times.
Yeah, when you from the Northeast, right, and you have your first son, you name your first son after you. So me and my wife, she went I think she was made it to 6 months, and we lost the first boy that I was going to have. So that's why my son's named Andrew, because up in the Northeast, I don't know the traditions they have in different parts of the country. You always name your first child boy after you. So my brother, my oldest brother's named Andrew. My father's named Andrew. His father's named Andrew. Everyone's named Andrew. So my first son we had lost. So I put, I wasn't going to name Andrew Kevin because we already had that name. So I named my son Andrew Kevin. That's why he's named Andrew Kevin and not Kevin Andrew. So that's what happened. Yeah.
That makes sense.
But I mean, it's fine. That happened. It's part of life. Yeah. You have to go on. I have healthy kids. I have 2 daughters are nurses. One's a social worker and 2 are in nursing school. So they're doing great. They're doing good.
That is great.
Yeah.
You're a blessed man, Kevin.
Yes, I really am. It took me a long time to find that out, but I am.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure that it's hard having that many women in one house.
Yeah. So when we got out of the show, so they came to my house June 10th. The guy filming in the house, he opened up a pizza box, the keys there, and the guy's standing to my left. There's 50 people in my house. I mean, there's trucks outside that are on the street. Like there's trucks, trailer trucks from CVS. And he say to me, let me see your phone. He takes my phone. I don't get my phone back till September 22nd. I don't see my kids or family until September 23rd. So I don't see them for over 94 days, 95 days. Nothing, not one word from them, nothing. So I see them, and my daughters, like all girls, they're protective. They're like, this person said this, and I was like, what, man? It was 3 a.m, and we were in LA. I said, listen, I don't really care what was said on the show, man. It was a TV show. I enjoyed myself. It was a fun summer. I have no animosity, no complaints. I do not have any bad feelings about anybody on the show, and I mean nobody. If I seen them,
that's great.
Now again, I am not going to reach out to a 23-year-old girl when they're putting pictures up in a bathing suit, and I'm going to say you look great. Well, you know, now I'm 59. I mean, So I mean, I heart the stuff, and I'll communicate with them. But I mean, if someone's not going to communicate back, if someone on the show is getting married, who's on my season, all they can say is that, and I say congratulations, and you know, then someone else maybe having a child, someone else, I ended up having cancer. And if some of the people on the show don't reach out to someone who has something like that important in their life going on, I think they just take the show too far. I think, you know, we do have an alliance where we work together on a season, maybe 30 days, maybe 60 days, maybe 90 days. We were still together. If someone's going to have a baby, you can congratulate them. If someone gets married, you can congratulate them. If someone gets cancer, you can wish them the best. You don't have to say, I'm not talking to him because we didn't talk in a goddamn diary room on a TV show in the CBS studios in LA. I mean,
right.
It seems ridiculous.
We've had a lot of conversations on our show about separating personal things
100%.
from game things.
100%.
And I mean, because our responsibility is always to bring these live feed updates. And while they're sometimes hard to bring from a personal level, we tell everybody what's happening. And we get a lot of hate sometimes on saying, like, why do y'all talk about Nicole so much? Or why do y'all talk about this so much? And I'm like, well, this is what's happening on the feeds.
Correct.
It's not personal. We don't have a personal problem with Nicole. We don't know her.
Right.
And this is talking about her in the game of Big Brother, like if she's crying and being whiny, like that's what's happening on the show. But what she does in her real life, I'm sure Nicole's a great person.
Right.
So,
well, listen, I never cried, man. You never seen me cry.
Yes.
My daughter's trying to tell me that I put my face in the refrigerator and cried. I was like, man, I was eating ham.
You're eating the cookies.
I know. I had to roll up a piece of ham, right? So I would leave it in the refrigerator because they watch everything you do. Then I would go back and I put it in the freezer and I'd put my head in like I was getting fresh. I was getting cooled off, you know what I mean? Even though the house is freezing. Do you know why everyone wears jackets and sweaters and stuff? Because they have to put on air conditioning because there's so many cameras, they don't want to overheat.
Yeah.
So the house is freezing cold and you only go out in the yard. I would say you go out in the yard for a day and a half max the whole week. That's the most you'll ever go out. Because they're going to build these elaborate comps that take 3 or 4 days. So they have to close out the yard. So you go out in the yard, I would say Sunday afternoon, all day Monday, and that's it. The rest of the week you're in that house. So if you don't get along, let me just say, I'm just going to say a name that wasn't in my season. If I don't get along with Maria, and I don't get along with Mikey, and they're sitting right there, and I'm right here, so what the hell are you going to do? You just go in your corner and you sit there. You know what I mean? And if you can't take being deprived of any type of social just talking or any type of physical contact, maybe someone just putting their arm around you or hugging you or saying this, then you're not going to make it, man. You're not going to make it. You have to be strong mentally. And I was like, if they don't want to talk to me, don't talk. It don't matter to me. But to keep that going on after the season is sort of
just petty.
It's not understandable to me. I mean, you're talking about doing things in life, having children, getting married, going through cancer, surviving cancer, maybe buying a house, maybe littler things, maybe just adjusting your life, maybe stop, maybe if you were drinking and you quit, maybe if you were gambling, things like that in life. It was a TV show. We all played an integral part of the show, even though maybe someone was on for a week or two, you still are part of my season. To not want to talk or to think that I'm not talking about this person because they may have said something during a diary room.
A diary room, yeah.
Crazy. My opinion is they just don't. Once you get children and you start going through the experiences of real life, like when you can't buy diapers when your kids are young, or you have an uncle that is dying of alcoholism, or if you have someone who has a different type of addiction, or if you have someone who gets a disease and doesn't make it like my brother did, you understand that to be mad at somebody for saying, I don't like Kevin because he wears a suit is,
right.
I wouldn't even address it.
That's so small in this scheme of life.
Right. Especially what we're going through now. Guys, listen, man. If you think
COVID, yes.
Going through 2020, you guys so far, you've been like being in a Big Brother house for 6 months. You haven't been able to leave the house since March. Your whole life's changed. I mean, you guys are young, so I imagine Thursday, Friday night, party night. You know what I mean? the 2-for-1, the cheese sticks, and Texas. I don't know, whatever you guys eat.
I would say the hardest part has been the hardest part has been that I have 3 kids. 2 of them are twins. And the hardest part has been being quarantined in this house with them the whole time.
And they're your kids. Imagine being
they're
quarantined in a house with 15 kids, 30 and under, and you don't know any of them. Yeah. They're telling you they're doctors, and you're believing it. I'm like, I don't got to worry about nothing.
You're literally like living in the Big Brother house all over again.
Yeah. Now,
15 people you don't know.
How old are your kids?
I have an 8-year-old, and the twins they're almost 2.
Congratulations, you look so young. Well, I'm not going to tell you. I have a 33, 31, 29, 27, 26, 25, 21, 22, and 20.
I'm honestly impressed that you can
Look.
remember all of this
Yeah.
because I can't even keep up with my 3 half of the time. So that's, I mean, claps for that. That's great.
Listen, I used to mention their names and the exact birth dates. Like Erica,
Mhm.
I would say Erica, 6/30/87. Amanda, 6/7/89. Lissa, 6/30/91.
Oh my
And they
gosh,
still didn't
Kevin.
believe. They still didn't believe that I had children. Like I would rehearse. Like I what? I made up birthdays for
You
9
just-
people. What are you crazy? But that's just how things
That's
go.
great.
Yeah.
We have a question
That's
over
so
here from Cam K, and he says, another question if it's not too much. Kevin, did your family watch the live feed when you're in the house? And how stressful for it was them to watch you and not be able to say anything, knowing that the house, was against you at times?
They 3 of my daughters canceled the live feeds. They were in college.
Mhm.
Yeah. TMZ came to my house. They came to my wife's work. They came to my son's high school.
What?
Yes.
That's
Apparently,
a little much.
somebody said something during the season. I don't really want to. We all know what happened, but they made a big deal of it. They called my wife's work and got into her work system and talked to her
Wow.
because she's a NICU nurse, and you just can't really get in touch with someone who works in NICU. My son, they went to his high school. My daughters canceled the live feeds, and I'm like, why? And they're like, Dad, you don't even want to watch it. I was like, it doesn't bother me. I mean, when we were younger, we would be the same way. You grew up in a neighborhood where they had big families. You didn't get along with one family. That's just how it was. You stayed off their street. So I grew up on Darling Street. You didn't go on to Oswald Street or Pequot Street because you knew you had to fight the Collinses or the McCaulays, or you had to fight the Carter brothers. You knew you had to get into a fight, so you avoided them. So on here, you just avoid them. But when you're stuck in a house like that, but you have to understand, production wants arguments. Production wants controversy. That's what gets ratings. That's why. That's why. To be honest, they should have had Josh on this season. Josh,
Right.
Yeah.
You could say what you want about Josh, but Josh is a camera-friendly guy, man. He is.
Absolutely.
He is TV gold.
Listen, man, I am laying there in bed next to Josh. I used to sleep with Josh, right? And I'm laying there in bed with Josh, and this goddamn kid comes running in with pots and pans. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then, dun, 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 and I was like,
It's stuck in your head.
do what you want, man. Do what you want. But you got to believe it was entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
Your ratings. I mean, people say our season was the worst. It really doesn't matter to me, but the ratings weren't. I can tell you that much.
They weren't. No.
Yeah.
We've talked about your season on our show and how, like Josh, like there were honestly these huge memorable players on your season.
Right, characters, absolutely.
Yeah, like the characters from your season were amazing.
Jess and Cody, Mark and Elena. Listen, Raven and Matt. You had Alex and Jason. You had Josh, Paul, and Christmas. You had Dominic. You had my pal Ramsey. Come on, man. You had me.
Like so many good characters came out of your season. I think it was just how the storyline unfolded.
Yeah.
We have a question here from Quinny that says, Kevin, would you ever play again? Were you contacted about All Stars, or would you ever play again?
Yeah, but definitely. I would go on because now at least I know what the hell's going on.
You would know Zingbot.
I would never be mean to someone. I mean, I wouldn't never, ever self-evict. I mean, the whole point of going on the show is but again, I was never, at the end of my season, I was isolated. But you got to understand, they would go around the jacuzzi and talk about their sex life. And here I am, 30 years older. I didn't want to hear about their sex life. So I didn't mind sitting in my bedroom. I didn't mind Kevin's corner. I had my brother's stuff. I had my corner. I would sit in there. I would read cereal boxes. I would just occupy myself chilling. And I didn't want to hear about, this girl and that girl and how when I was 20, I had this girlfriend, then I had that girlfriend. I really didn't want to listen to it no more. So I didn't mind being by myself. Should I spend time by myself now? I'll go up to my room tonight and I'll watch basketball. And my girls don't watch that. So
We had James Ryan on our show earlier this week or last week, and he talked about how he would often spend time by himself on purpose because a lot of this game is so mental. It took that for him to sit by himself and analyze what was going on. Did you ever find yourself, doing that same thing where you're just?
I didn't analyze. My analytical skills weren't doing too good because I trusted everybody there. I thought they were being honest. And
God, Kevin.
Listen, I was like, man, I hunted bars my whole life. You mean to tell me these people were lying to me the whole goddamn time? But it's fine. I never really held it. But yeah, no, I would just sit there and I would think about like people when I was younger that went through worse things that were not here no more. And I'd be like, this ain't that bad, man. We're in California. It's sunny. You get to eat ice cream. You get to chill. And I don't know why everyone closed the door in. Everyone complained and cried a lot. I couldn't understand why they cried because I thought it was pretty cool, but that's just how it is.
Well, we're all for you coming back on again. Anything that would bring you back on our screens.
Listen, one more story. I show up in LA, right? So I don't get out into the hotel till 3 in the morning, right? So at 3 in the morning, some guy comes up from production, really cool guy. So I had already taken my suits and I lined them up across the windows in the hotel room. So I had 12 suits. This dude comes in the room. He knocks on the door. And I'm like, what's up? He said, I have to come in and I have to go through all your clothing. In case, I guess, I don't know, in case you were going to bring a phone in case you were going to bring in some kind of stimulants.
Like hiding, yeah.
Yeah, right. A melatonin, anything. So, and he was like, he stepped in the room and he was like, why do you have so many suits? And I was like, what do you mean? We don't go out to dinner on the weekend? And he was like, what did you just say? And he's gone on to his walkie-talkie, and he called the other production people down. Listen, they went through
This is so
suits.
good.
They only let me keep 4 suits. They sent 8 suits back to Boston because these suits weren't camera friendly because they were had pinstripes, and one was plaid, and one was so they let me keep the brown one, the blue one, black one, and that silver one that I ended the shoot when I walked off, that one. So I kept 4 suits. So when we got in the house, Matt brought nothing. Matt brought one shirt with him.
Yeah,
so that shirt we saw him in every day. Yeah,
the Texas shirt.
Really funny, man. And Mark only brought 5 pieces of clothing. So they tell you to go in there and you get your closet space or your bureaus, whatever you want. So I was like, well, you're not going to use that, are you? You're not going to use that, are you? So I used all of the closet space. And Mark was like, he said, hey, Big Kev, answer me this. Why do you have all that nice clothing? I'm like, what do you mean? And I said, when we have a live eviction, the girls would go in the bathroom and spend 5 hours doing makeup and get all dressed up. All the guys would come out in shorts and tank tops. So I used to always get dressed up nice for the live evictions, just to show that, people can get dressed up too, although it was hot as hell. But I used to get dressed up. I did the golf one. The golf one that Josh threw on? I did it in a 3-piece suit.
That's great.
Do you remember when he hit the golf ball? I had on my 3-piece suit, and I faked to kick the ball from behind, and production stopped and was like, Kevin, you cannot kick the ball with your foot, because I was going to kick it. So I tapped the ball, but I had a good time. I was enjoying myself until it got at the end when it got personal. I did get into an argument with Josh one day, and Christmas one day. But besides that, just to avoid arguments, I just kept to myself. Because I had known I already won some money, and I had known how much you get for a stipend, and I had known that you just don't want to yell at a 23-year-old on national TV if you're 56. You're just going to look like an asshole. There's no way I could have won, even if I was right? Even if I was right. Let's say, I'm just going to pick one of the girls up. Let's say Elena, who may get along well. We talk a lot. Let's say Elena called me a name. For me to come running out of the corner, you mother effer, you called me a name, this and that, you would look like an asshole. So I would not say nothing. I would just let it go.
Yeah.
I would just say, I'm not going to say nothing. And they would try to get me going in the diary room. Production would say, well, this person was talking about you. And I'd be like, well, then you should say something to them, because I'm not going to say anything to them. And you would never see that. But let's talk about what's going on now.
All right.
I told you, look,
sounds good.
Did y'all have any?
Talking about my
No, we love hearing your perspective. It's so entertaining.
That's what we talked about before you came on too. We were like, we just want to hear Kevin talk and tell stories. Like,
yeah. Funny you can even understand my accent. When people say they can't even say what the hell you're talking about. You talk too fast and your accent. No one knows what the hell
you
you're
probably
saying.
Can't understand us either with our southern drawls. So
yeah, I can hear it. Yeah, I know it's beautiful. Marshall, Texas, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
East Texas.
I don't know where it is, but I just said that.
We're real close to Shreveport, Louisiana. We're like right on the Texas-Louisiana line.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So did you get hit by that storm?
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Wow.
We couldn't do a show that day because our power went out.
Really?
Yeah.
So we
gotta get a generator for your shows.
Yeah. Kylie had hers.
I've got a generator, but Trisha didn't. So we thought we were gonna be able to do it. Yeah, she screwed it up.
She screwed it up.
Blame it on this girl.
Blame it on her. Blame it on the kids.
Yeah, I blame it on the kids.
Twins, 2-year-old twins, man. Must be
it's a lot.
So bizarre. Yeah. So the show, tell me what's happening, man, in your guys' opinion.
So we had a third wall yeller last night or yesterday. Did y'all have any wall yellers on your season?
Yes.
The people yelling?
And I hated it so much. You know why? Because first of all, you really can't understand what they're saying. You make up what you think they're saying. You like, obviously they said this, but once they did that, they would go, big microphone would go off, and they would lock you down. And you wait 140 to 154 hours a week to get out into that yard, and some jerk off yells over the wall, which you can't really understand because it's still 100 yards away, and they lock you in. And then someone wrote something with one of those planes, the smoke planes, and they lock you in. So you're locked in again. And I'm like, man, they're never going to let us out. The only time that I really enjoy that, well, I enjoy the yard all the time, but at nighttime, you have the lights coming down so hard and you really can't see the sky. But when the moon would come out and the moon's right up above you, it was beautiful, man. So beautiful. I didn't understand why people stayed in. Some people never came out in the yard ever. I couldn't understand it. I would be in the yard. Once that door opened, I would be running out to the yard.
I feel like we've seen so many wall yellers this year because, we saw the last wall yeller and it really caused chaos in the house. In addition to Kaser, like those two things happening at once was a perfect storm because it has caused so much chaos in the house. And so now I think the wall yellers of America have come out of hiding and they're like, let's go stir this game up even more. And it's kind of becoming a problem. Not only is it messing with you, like the people that are there at the house, but as viewers, you're really messing with the organic pieces of this game.
I mean, it already has, correct, because apparently Cody and Nicole feel that someone outed them out there, besides Kaiser outed them on his eviction speech. But I mean, it's sort of bizarre because maybe they should change the times they allow them to go out in the yard, and then the people don't know, because you basically know you go out Sunday from noon on and you're out Monday. So the only time they can yell at those times. So
yeah, you're exactly right.
So let's go to the Christmas one HOH and nominated Devon and Bailey. What'd you guys think?
That's correct.
Well, we are Bay and Day fans, so we're not happy with this. Like, not only, I mean, I would love to see both of them succeed, but as part of the show, they bring it in the DR. They're natural storytellers, and I just feel like, if we lose them, then the entertainment aspect of the show really goes down. So
I'm gonna have to agree with you guys. You're really on top of it. I agree. I think Devon, and they could say Bailey. I haven't seen her get upset. I think she's playing. I thought she was playing great. I thought things were going good. I mean, you got to understand, she's young. You're in there. It's like a pressure cooker. So, and when she feels that people are coming after her, she has to stand her ground. And to a lot of people watching and people on social media, they feel that she's just going off for no reason. But I mean, that's what it's all about, right? I mean, that's what the show's all about. So I like her. I think she's doing good. I love Devon. Danny, I really haven't even connected with much because I'm not a live feeder. Nicole seems to complain all the time, in my opinion, but I mean, I don't know.
No, she does. It's facts. There's no opinion, Kevin. Yeah. It is facts. Yeah. She does complain a lot.
I mean,
she got the costume.
For entertainment value right now, clearly the entertainment is Devon and Enzo. I mean,
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, you hear Enzo. I used to live in a basement. I was like, well,
Yeah. That was a great comment.
Yeah. And he's like, the way he tell you got to get him out. Yeah, exactly. But so now, are we up to who won the POV?
Yeah, well, we've talked about it, I guess yesterday when that happened. So we do know that Christmas won the POV, and it was looking like she was going to keep nominations the same, but it seems as though there's some interesting conversations happening in the house. We get a conversation yesterday with Day and Bay and Tyler.
Correct.
So what do we know about this?
Well, I got it sent to me. I'll let Trish. I'll just say what I got it sent to me on my text from one of my friends who watched the show, who I only met from the show, who's a really good kid. Green. He watches, and he sent me the video. And apparently, Tyler feels that Bailey felt that Tyler said something bad to Danny or whatever happened, but now Tyler wants to go home.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I don't.
Yeah. So that's the bombshell, guys. We are like
just let the bombshell out. It took me 4 years on Big Brother to let out my first bombshell.
Yeah, there you go. You dropped it. Boom. So we're like, everything is locked in. It looks like, Bailey, Davon are going to stay up there. We do have the veto ceremony today, but we get this conversation with Bay and Day last night, and Tyler breaks down, y'all. He's crying, and he just feels really guilty. He feels like it's his fault that Bay and Day are up on the block, and he tells them that he's going to take responsibility for it, and he's going to go to Christmas and ask to be put on the block and to be sent home.
And did he do that?
Yes.
So he does do that. So he sees. So this is such a personal thing for Tyler. He is seeing that what Bailey and Davon are standing for in this house. He's hearing the conversations that they're having. We've seen some of it on our TV screens with Davon and Kaser having these more, very in-depth conversations about racism, cultural awareness. And Tyler feels so guilty because he has been spreading, Bailey has been a target of his, and he's mentioned them, and his conscience is really getting to him. He has this conversation with Bay and Day, and he's like, I'm gonna go ask for Christmas to use the veto on me and take, one of you down and put me up. Yeah. So he then does. He goes and has this conversation with Christmas. The conversation begins, and he's just cried his heart out to Bay and Day, walks upstairs, says, hey, I have to talk to you about something, and the feed's cut.
Yeah, so we do, y'all, the best thing that has happened on the live feeds all season long, we do not get. Literally, he was up there for over an hour and a half, and they showed like the first 2 or 3 minutes of their conversation. And we even have Danny and Nicole like go up during their conversation and knock on the door, and Christmas is like, hey, we need to finish our conversation, and sends them on their way. And they show like the girls going up and knocking on the door, but they do not show what is happening in the HOH room. So I don't know if this is something where production is freaking out, like, oh my gosh, Tyler's kind of their golden boy. Like, we have got to talk him.
Let me tell you something. They lose him, and I'm not.
Yeah.
And I'm just being how I feel. You lose Tyler. Listen, you're going to lose. You already lost a lot of audience when you lost Kaiser and Janelle. You know what I mean? You lose Tyler. Man, I mean, there's just no. I mean, the entertainment value is. I mean, for the live feeders, I would say everyone's just gonna. There's not much said. You're gonna be watching Enzo all day long. That's what they're gonna be doing, and Devon. But did Christmas honor his request?
Well, so the veto ceremony will happen today, but we do get some conversations afterwards where Chris tells us that Christmas told him to sleep on it and come back to her today. So we'll be able to report on this tomorrow.
Okay, you have my number. Text me tonight, though. I'm going to have to go to my live feed.
Yeah, I will.
I mean,
we'll let you know.
Outside. I'm watching the Celtics today at 6:30, so I'm not going to be watching no live feeds. I can tell you.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
Thank you.
So, yeah, this is going to be pretty big, guys.
Big time. This is big time, guys. You don't even know because, like you said, production. Now, does he get his money? I mean, you just
Yeah,
can't.
He should.
I mean,
He's going to be voted out. He's not
yeah,
self-evicting.
he's not self-evicting, so I think he still gets his money. And
And he'll go
I
home.
feel like,
This is
this does have to be brought in by production. Like, I feel like they have to say something to him of what it seems like. And this is a conversation we have also had with some of our viewers in the comments of our videos, asking our opinion on what it looks like to have Bailey and Davon nominated together. And this is a really tricky thing, and it's something we want to be sensitive about.
I
But
agree with you 100%.
but it is, the outside world is affecting. The outside world is affecting the game. I don't think that, I mean, and Christmas personally, I don't think that Christmas nominates Bay and Day for it to be a racial thing. Bay and Day are a duo, and they're not in any alliances with Christmas. But from the aspect of there's been a person of color nominated every single
Right.
week,
Yeah,
that looks bad for optics. And so
well,
that's
also, gotta remember they keep nominating all the good female players.
right.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
And so I just wonder if production said something about, Tyler's getting some heat on Twitter about his role in getting Bay and Day up on the block. And I just wonder if
I
production
said he
said
closed his
something.
Twitter.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, like, this is not what I'm here for. I don't want to be represented like this. This isn't the type of person that I am. And so I think maybe that might be where a lot of this is driven from
I
with
got you
him.
now. Thank you. That you said it straight. But also, I was heard somebody he closed his Twitter down. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't understand. And again, he didn't nominate them, and I understand what's happening in the country. Trust me, I grew up in a city, and I think I don't understand Christmas's move, and I don't think Christmas, like you say, because I mean they are together. But you did hear Devon say right to her at the nomination table. So you're telling me you put me up because I'm close with her. So I mean, you have to understand their perspective. I mean, why would Christmas put up two more female? I mean, there's going to be only two. If one of them, let's say one of them did go, now you got four girls left. And Devon, let's say it's Bailey that went. Devon and Danny both on doing good in comps right now. You know what I mean? Nicole hasn't done good in comps. So you're gonna have Christmas against Enzo, Tyler, Cody, Memphis, Ian, Kevin.
Yeah.
Come on, David. I mean, it's going to get knocked down where there's going to be the last four. There's going to be four guys, and you're going to have the ratings. It's going to be Love Island. There's going to be no one watching it, just the people who watch Love Island.
So we have some comments going right now, and people are wanting to know what was the reaction after Tyler has this conversation with Day and Bay. And they were really happy, actually, because Day and Bay are both religious. We do see them, they pray often on the show. It's no secret. But they actually even have a prayer about, and it kind of shows their thoughts on this. So they pray after this happens, and their thoughts on it is like, this is karma. Like, Tyler was doing bad doings to us. This is karma, pretty much, is their viewing on it. He did this to himself, and now he's feeling guilty about it, which, I mean, any good human, he just has a bad feeling. And y'all, this isn't the first time we've seen this happen with Tyler wanting to go home. He's also very homesick. So I think the mental piece of this game and being in quarantine prior to this, 2020 has been a hard year.
Yeah.
I think he's just struggling mentally. This isn't the first time he's mentioned wanting to go home and not wanting to be in this house, but I think this is just the straw that broke the camel's back. So we'll see today if he goes home.
And Trish, I agree 100% with you. The little girl from New York who made a mistake, who thought that Kaiser and Janelle were coming for her, she's been taking a lot of heat. You got to understand, you go on the show. They go 14 days in a hotel. I only went 7, but now with the quarantine, you got to go 14 days. Then you go into a house. Then you have to try to win comps and play a game. And the whole process of the game is to play the game and eliminate other people and to try to get you and whoever you made a line with down to the end. And at this day and age, well, what's happening, any move you make is wrong. How do you make a right move? What are you supposed to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's very true.
And it's just difficult. I just wish production, I don't know. I think maybe if production put, I mean, I don't know what you do. I don't know. It's just tough. It's tough times, man, in the country and on the show. I don't know. I think Tyler, he should stay. I think they should play the game out. I think whoever they vote for leaves, and then just play to win. Maybe that would show more. Just to play hard and don't play a deceitful game. Play hard and win. And if you win, I mean, donate some of your money or do something like that. You know?
Yeah.
Look, I have his necklace on that he sent me.
Oh, that's so cool.
Tyler sent me that.
I saw that on his Instagram recently, actually.
Tyler also contacted me numerous times, and Angela numerous times on the phone, and asked me, do I need anything? Are you all right? A lot of people have. I am telling you, more Big Brother house guests than you would imagine have contacted me, have asked me, do I need anything? Have helped me out. A lot of them. So
yeah,
you become like a big family. A lot of them also think they're more important than the show themselves, but that's just how people are, guys. It's like that in life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, in high school, when you were in high school, the quarterback thought he was the coolest guy in the class, right? Walking up and down this thing, you know what I mean? Now he's delivering. He's delivering. Food. He's working at Lowe's or he's working at Home Depot. You know what I mean? But in high school, he was the cat's meow. You know what I mean? He was a big guy on campus, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing, though, is that Tyler is a really good, genuine person, and he's an excellent game player, an excellent strategist. And so I think he's getting caught up a little bit in, he was playing a game, but, I think that he's realizing that the game is probably affecting his life on the outside.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine that's going to be a really hard thing to balance.
So is he taking heat on Twitter? What's happening? Is people?
Yeah. I think that people are pretty pissed because of what happened with Tyler and Bailey on their previous season. And, Tyler was supposed to just really have Bailey's back this time. And I think people are pretty pissed at him. So,
and how is Bailey? What is she getting? Is she getting support or is she getting?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I think everybody is pretty well supporting Bailey and Davon.
Well, we also saw on the feeds the other day that Bailey has a full conversation with Davon or Danny about what happened with her and Tyler. And so that, if anyone was watching the feeds or Twitter when that was happening, what could have been what, hit that domino to make this effect, because she talks about how she had a miscarriage in the house and like no one knew about it. And she had hormones and that's why she was so upset. And then later she tells Tyler about this and says, that's why I blew up on you, is because I had a miscarriage. I was dealing with all this by myself while I was in the house, And so then for Tyler to come back in the house, he knows this and then is telling people that Bailey is going to go off. He told Christmas, like, once you nominate Bailey, you need to go to the HOH room because she's going to go off, And that getting back to Bailey hurt her because she was like, that isn't the kind of person I am. It's just because of the situation that Tyler's very aware of what I was going through. So for him to throw that in my face, Bailey was, definitely hurt by that. Understandably so.
Wow. Whoever invented this game had to be a highly intelligent person, man, because they have regular people who if you had met at anywhere, if you had met at a dance, would just be nice people that are going there and start talking shit about each other and disliking each other and saying this and that. And you're like, what the hell? You know what I mean? And then you get out and deal with it. And social media can be really mean, man. It's difficult. You know what I mean? It's really hard.
Yeah, you're right.
So I wish everyone the best. I wish Tyler the best. I hope mentally he can get through this. I hope Bailey gets through it. And all of them. It's not easy, man, being in there and then being scrutinized for everything you do. You got to remember, the scrutiny doesn't stop when the show ends. Matter of fact, it gets worse. It gets worse. Yeah. And it determining who people like, no matter if they even say something bad or anything negative or something disparaging, if people like them, it's all right. But if people dislike you and you say something, well, you get pounced on, you know what I mean? And it's difficult. Yeah. These are only young kids. I just turned 59. You know what I mean? These kids are 24, 25 years old. They got to live what? The rest of their life, and they got to keep up on Instagram, keep up on Twitter, keep up on this. you could see how thin some of them look like they haven't eaten. There's so much stress on them, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're definitely seeing. I mean, we know that that's what happened with Nicole Anthony. That's why, you know, she was the mental piece of it was instantly the demise of her, because if she was in the right headspace, she would have been okay. What Janelle's saying makes sense. She's telling the truth, but mentally, I mean, she just came off the last season and went right back in, and that's a lot.
As America's favorite, and she was doing great. And I talked to her. She's a great kid, but again. Then you got to understand, you get 14 days to do nothing. When I'm telling you, you're quarantined for 14 days, you don't see no one except for some interns who work for production who bring you food and they don't even talk to you. And then you get put in there and everyone knows everyone else's background. Now, it's not like a renewed season when you're house guest. Everyone knows who Janelle is. Everyone knows, although I don't, but a lot of people, everyone on the show knows who
I don't.
You know what I mean? So it's difficult. It's difficult to navigate through it. I wish them the best. I don't feel there's nothing in this world right now that's worth someone mentally having a mental breakdown for any kind of money. I didn't give a shit about the 500,000. If I didn't win that 500, I didn't give a shit. You see, when I left, I walked out of there. Man, I was like, hey, you guys, everyone did great. I'm not mad. You guys did what you did. However you did play the game, that's the way you played. I have no animosity. Good luck. I hugged them all. I kissed them all. I walked out there. And that was it. But to have people have mental breakdowns and to carry it on when they get out for the rest of their, every time you see anybody, you know what I mean? What? Every time someone's going to see Tyler at an airport or see him somewhere, they're going to call him an asshole or something. I don't think that's not fair. You know what I mean? So, and I think
Kevin,
production should take some kind of accountability and understand, you know what I mean? That you're hurting people's lives. You're hurting people's life. I mean, what? Bailey mentally could have a breakdown. It looks like Danny's having a breakdown. Nicole's having a breakdown. Tyler's having a breakdown. I mean, what do you want to do? You might as well call it big breakdown. You know what I mean? What the hell, man?
Yeah.
You know, you got to stop being kind to people, man. I don't know.
Yeah, spread kindness.
One person wins, you know that. And even the person who wins, they tax you. You only get like 300. After your family hits you up for money, you're probably negative. You probably owe money after everyone's money. You know what I mean? You don't even want to win the goddamn thing.
Yeah.
You know?
We saw Bailey earlier this week have a little bit of a breakdown, and she got called to the upstairs diary room. Did that ever happen on y'all's season? And do you have any insight as to what this upstairs diary room is? Because David mentioned that the upstairs diary room connects to a telephone where they can talk to a therapist.
They probably have, because they were building all these new elaborate things. That's probably what they were doing. But they have a psychologist that comes in. You get asked, do you need to be talked to? A lot of people just go in just to talk, but I never talked to nobody. My diary rooms were set records, 30 seconds, 1 minute, tops. I had nothing to say. I was like, and I understood the pressure, but you got to understand, you have to live a life to go through pressure. I mean, I can tell you stories of growing up that you couldn't even calculate into Big Brother. But a lot of these people, they came right out of high school, right out of college. Then they get put into a TV show. So I mean, it's difficult, really difficult. So she probably got a chance. The psychologist probably came into the room and maybe sat down in front of her up there, because the diary room, there's nowhere for them to come in. Upstairs diary room, there wasn't when I was there. So I can only imagine it's where someone can actually come in and maybe hold you by your hand, tell you everything's going to be all right, that kind of stuff, which would help carry you through another week. But it gets stressful, man. Really stressful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be nice if there was like, after you go on the show, they have like an assigned, or you pick a therapist that the show, pays for, that you have this funding, because it does, we've seen this time and time again, mentally take tolls on so many of these players. And like you said, I mean, once the show ends, that's really when you get so much of the brunt of the hate and the, BB fandom attacking you.
Yeah, it's absolutely. It's worse than it's the triple, because when you're in there, Paul used to say it to us that when you guys get out, wait till you see what the social media is going to be like. And I thought he was exaggerating, and it was 100 times worse than that. Not for me. Don't get me wrong. I don't get any. I mean, even if I get something negative, I will say that's your opinion. That's fine. If that's how you feel, you know what I mean. I don't feel anyone should be able to talk about your family. I don't think anyone should be able to talk about how you were raised. I don't think anyone should be talking about if someone in your family had some type of problems, if someone in your family this and that. I don't think it should be involved. I think the person himself should be involved, and I don't think personalities or personal life should be put in there. I think unless you brought it up and you want them to talk about it, but that's just how it goes. So we'll see how things go. You guys got to text me and let me know. It's been a pleasure being on the show. Good luck with the children. I really wish you the best.
We appreciate having you, Kevin. Where can everyone follow you on social media?
Yeah, really ingenious. As you can tell, my social media standards are really high. BB19 Kevin. That's it. Still
BB19 Kevin, everyone. You heard it here.
On Instagram and Twitter. I have like maxed out on Facebook. And it's funny because I had a birthday and we could have held that in a phone booth. I don't know how I have on 5,000 Facebook friends when I really have like 2 friends, So, but I'm BB19 Kevin. It's on Instagram and Twitter. But
thanks so much for coming on our show today.
And you are welcome. I wish you young ladies the best. Enjoy the season. Enjoy yourselves. Good luck with the kids again. Good luck with your podcast. If you need me, text me. All right.
All right.
Absolutely. We appreciate you coming on.
I have like 4,000 emails I haven't answered. So
we're trying to be professional.
Just text me. I'm really not professional. Who would paint their nails and wear like 2 watches and be considered professional? Are you shitting me? Hey guys, I love you guys. Enjoy yourself. I hope you have a great fall.
All right. Thanks for everything. Bye, Kevin.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Y'all go show Kevin some love on his social media. He was a great guest. We're so glad to have him. And y'all were coming at us with a great question. So thanks again. Just to recap kind of what happened really quickly. I know we're like way over time that we normally spend on here. Just to recap really quickly. Tyler has gone to Christmas, asked to be put up in place of Bailey or as the nom so that he'll go home this week. We'll know if that happens today. The POV ceremony will happen. He was asked to sleep on it last night. But yeah, this could be huge for the show, y'all. This could really change the course of everything that's happening. So
yeah.
Other than that,
there's so much other stuff going on too, guys. So just follow us on Twitter. We're always posting updates, retweeting things that you need to know. We don't want to keep y'all any longer today. So
we're sorry for the amount of time we're taking on a holiday.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining us though. We had a great time.
Yes. So cheers to that, Kylie. Thanks again to Kevin for coming on today. We will put our tweet of the day out on Twitter for everyone, and Instagram, and some clips out there. So go give us a follow, Instagram and Twitter at RealiTEA_TRHS. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the thumbs up if you like what you're seeing, and give us a comment on the actual video as soon as it's uploaded to help us out. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great day. Happy Labor Day. Bye, y'all.